Welcome, beautiful souls. Today I want to talk about the ego. I want to talk about the difference between the ego, the mind, and your soul. And really try and help some of you really resonate why the ego structure is so important to get under wraps, and how it is creating chaos, and how it's also creating chaos for your masculine. So welcome, I'm Kathleen from Awakening Meraki. Now, I want to split these three out for a reason, because all of them play a role in terms of the energetics between you and your counterpart. You see, you are one energetic being. These two physical bodies are simply just avatars. These suits that we've put on. What's actually underneath the suit is this beautiful dance of masculine and feminine energy, your soul. And it's divine and it's incredible. And the amount of times that I've personally experienced all the time, but with other beautiful clients, is how they experience the energetic masculine coming in on all the time. Like, this journey goes well beyond anything that you see in this physical reality. It's all about the energy. And I know a lot of people get stuck about, well, I don't understand, I don't get about this energy, I don't know what to do about it. And then we are in the mind and we're really bagging out the masculine. And so I just want to really, tap into this and try and help some of you. And this has come off the back of some comments that I've seen in the last few weeks. And, that my masculine's this and my masculine's that, and he's got this big ego and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, let's get to the core issue as to why your masculine's behaving like that. So first of all, you have a soul bond, okay? You connect in a way that you will never ever connect with anybody else. It is that divine, that unique, that special, that beautiful and sacred. And it's energy, it's soul energy. And when you close or shut out the 3D noise, the physical noise, the chasing energy, and you tune inwards, you'll feel the soul energy in here. And when the soul is really freed up, you feel all your energy coming around you like this. Like, it's just so beautiful when your soul is free. Because at the start of this journey, it's not free, it's dense. It's down in these lower paradigms. It's operating in this fear-based energy, which is only attached to the physical world. Fear-based energy is an attachment problem. Okay, and what we're learning here is to release these attachments to things in the physical world, because they're all just an illusion. That's why money comes and goes, cars come and go, people come and go, jobs come and go, jewelry, whatever, anything, it comes and goes. It's temporary. It's not permanent. But what you have here with this other person, even if they are no longer incarnated, you still have this beautiful soul bond. If you've had soul recognition, irrelevant whether the twin is still incarnated or not, if you got soul recognition in this incarnation with them, even if they've passed on, you will still feel them, because you've had that soul activation while you're in this 3D paradigm. Now, this journey is about really coming into resonance that you are not the ego, you are not the mind. Those energies are assigned to this physical world only. And your ascension, this ascension is about shifting out of that fear-based energy and coming into your soul energy, which is a being frequency. And it's stunning and it's beautiful. But we've been operating from the ego structure. So let's talk a little bit more about this, because I want to try and really help people resonate. And the thing is, on this journey, is if you're still really entrenched in this physical world, in the ego structure, my content, you're going to probably go, I don't get it, because you're too focused in the external world. You're too focused on everything around you instead of tuning in here, tuning into your own unique soul signature that you share with this other person. This is where your power is, not out there, not calling them names and getting all annoyed at whatever they're doing. So The other thing that I want to, before I talk about the ego structure, the other thing I just want to get clear on here is your soul is having two experiences, okay? It's having two human experiences. At a soul level, you chose these experiences. So if your masculine is out sleeping around, for an example, or doing whatever they're doing, right? It doesn't really matter what they're doing. Let's just say that whatever they're doing, I want you to resonate that you, as a soul, chose that would be an experience that would play out. The soul is the creator. The soul is here to evolve and expand, so it does it through experience. Equally, whatever you played out in your life, at a soul level, we chose it for the soul to evolve and expand. This is soul school. So you have to yank yourself out of the 3D and looking at what they're doing and how things unfolded between the two of you, and pull yourself up out of it. And you're not doing it to get them. You're doing it because you're ascending, and you are now your soul wants to be free and bring in all the love and the abundance to you, but it can't if you're going to insist on sitting in your ego and blaming. So let's get into how I would like to define these three things. So I've talked a bit about soul energy. When you go look in the mirror, just stare into your eyes. Who is observing you? Who is watching you? That is your soul. That is your consciousness. And this is about ascending your consciousness, right? So that you're living from a very conscious place. This is presence. That consciousness is also your inner masculine within you. Masculine energy is conscious awareness. Feminine energy is the moving in it. It's the energy that creates and wields and works in the spiritual realms, right? So how do I want to define the mind and the ego? Because you could call it one and the same, but to help people, I want to say this. I like to see the mind as a tool to, add up 1 + 1, right? Which equals 2. Get me from A to B, like a sorting system. I need to use the mind when I'm learning to do something new, for an example. Then what happens is, let's say we're learning to drive, right? We're very conscious, we're very aware, and we're using the mind as it was intended to learn how to drive. Then what happens is, over time, when we're more confident and comfortable, we slip into the subconscious when we're driving. We just drive subconsciously. And yes, there'll be some conscious awareness there, obviously, for road rules and whatever else, but ultimately you can drive and think, shit, how did I get home? Because your mind will be wandering off somewhere else. You'll be driving and the mind will be over here. Now let's talk about the ego structure. The ego structure is the one that gets us into trouble. It's not the mind. It's the egoic part of the mind, is probably, my way of explaining it. That ego is the one that judges, blames. So it's the ego that's going, my masculine is doing this. My masculine is behaving like this. My masculine is, smoking lots of weed. My masculine is sleeping with lots of people. My masculine is doing whatever. And that is not what I want for me. I want a proper relationship, and I want that person to show up properly for me because I want this and I want that. That's the ego. That's the ego. The ego also does this. I've got no self-worth. I am a limited being. I am stuck in this job. I have no money. That is the ego. That is your programming. That is your subconscious. That is where we react from. It's really important to define these, because the key here is to see the ego. This is why we have ego death, to see the egoic structure. This is why we have a masculine showing us in high ego, and it's triggering the living shit out of us to show us you're in ego. So if you are in that energy of who cares, screw them, they're off doing whatever they're doing, and they're in this ego structure and they're just being whatever, right? If you're in that energy, that is your ego speaking. It's not your soul. It's not your conscious awareness, love frequency, abundant frequency. That is your ego speaking, and it is very, very repelling energy. It's also your lack and your limitation speaking. It is your programming speaking. It is ultimately what we're talking about here is this is your hurt and your pain that we believe the masculine did to us. Nobody's that powerful. Nobody gets to choose how you feel. Nobody gets to choose what you do about your situation other than you. Your masculine is your mirror soul. Your soul is ready to ascend its consciousness and be awakened while it's on this planet. So we have this other body reflecting to us, which everyone's been doing all our life, by the way, but this one's, the ultimate reflection. If they are in the ego structure and you are there judging them that they're in the ego structure, you are in the ego structure. And they have no choice but to mirror back how you are carrying on. And they will keep doing it until you resonate that shit, I'm in the ego. My ego's flying out, out of control. And really what's flying out of control is your fear-based energy. You see, your soul is not interested in your needs and wants and desires and whether you want to have babies and whether you want to get pregnant. Oh, sorry, not get pregnant. Babies, pregnancy, all the same thing. Or whether you want to get married or, it's really, it's not interested in that. Because that is your ego speaking. And I know this is going to trigger some people because you're going to go, but I want to have a family. And absolutely, if that desire's within you and it's on your soul's plan, absolutely. But when we are going out into the world, right, and go, because this is programming, this is not a judgment, this is just the programming. The way we've been programmed is go find a partner so I can make babies and set up home and have the white picket fence, right? That's the programming. And so what happens is that we go off into the world and we do all these things, right? But ultimately we're doing it from chasing energy. And this journey is going to flip all of this on its head. And you must understand that this is a journey of raising out of that programming and allowing the soul to bring those experiences to you and you learn to energetically align to it. All right, they're two different energies. One is the ego structure. I must have, I want, this is whatever, right? It's based on fear. It's based on the 3D programming. And there's nothing wrong with wanting those things, by the way. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just, this is how our ego is being driven, and we end up in relationships and with people that are not in resonance with us because we're forcing, we're manipulating instead of allowing, instead of leaning back and allowing what is in resonance with us to come to us, to allow it to organically and naturally unfold. Instead, we play these 3D games of flirting, manipulation, and none of it, this is not a judgment, but this is just how it's been rolling on this planet. And it's the ego. And it's what we believe we have to do, right, to obtain something. Like, to obtain wealth. We believe that we have to force and hustle and work our asses off and do stupid hours and burn ourselves down. That's the programming that's keeping these souls entrapped. I don't know what I'm saying, but anyway, trapped in these blooming karmic patterns. So if you are blaming the masculine, let's go back there, you must understand that they are just reflecting you. And they are doing it unconsciously. They are not doing anything to you. They are doing this for you because it's actually your higher masculine operating through that body to get you to wake up and say, you are a divine freaking goddess, God. What are you doing? Why are you behaving like this? I know your truth. I know who you truly are. And this is not you. You are divine on the inside, and you can have whatever you damn well want. So long as it's on your soul's path, you can have it, because when you come into your beautiful frequency, you're the creator. So you're creating this egoic nonsense, by the way. We all do it, right? This is not a judgment, because believe me, I was there. We're creating that environment. We're creating that. And at the beginning, we don't resonate because we're so programmed to behave like this, or think that that's the norm. But actually, when you start to go through ego death, and you allow the ego to fall away and you see it with clarity, you're like, I don't want to behave like that anymore. It doesn't make me feel good. A centered, balanced space doesn't judge. You just know that whatever's playing out between you and your twin must unfold the way it's got to unfold, because you're now in soul, and you get that this is about the soul's evolution, expansion, and you shift your entire focus onto you anyway. And that's when things shift on this journey. But whatever you stay stuck in, I want, that is demanding. It's conditional. And it's also very repelling energy, not only to your physical masculine, but actually to many others as well. And that's the aspect of ourself that is no longer going to fly, because the soul has gone, we are awakening and we have to get out of it. And so soul will keep creating experiences for you until you learn the lesson. So often you'll hear people that they go off into, they just want to go and find other relationships, right? Well, if the masculine's not returning, then screw them, I'm going to go and get somebody else, right? I can tell you what's going to happen. You're going to land yourself in a dynamic where you're going to learn a shit ton of lessons, because it's not about your ego's needs anymore. That is why we have ego death. To see the ego, to see how it's been driving you and taking you down pathways where you're pushing, hustling, forcing, manipulating, behaving in ways that is not really the true you. The true you doesn't want to behave like that. Like, if you get really honest with yourself, none of us wanted to do that. It's just the programming. So it's really important to resonate that your ego keeps you in physical separation, because your ego is where you are polarized, okay? Where you are one is in the energy, the soul energy, but that ego energy is fear-based, and it's going to just keep cycling around in your energy field until you learn to transmute it out. And how do you do that? By learning to come into soul, be the observer of your ego and go, I see it, I'm not going to play it out. Your ego is like a separate entity to you, and you start to observe it and you see the programming. So, beautiful souls, I just hope that this really, really resonates. This is not a journey of getting a relationship. It is a journey of your soul. It is a journey of you coming into wholeness and fullness, and knowing that you're just this goddess, and that you're this vibing, this beautiful frequency. But if you carry on like that and you keep blaming the masculine, you must understand this. You are in the ego structure as much as they are in the ego structure. So if you don't like it, if you don't like the way the masculine is treating you or behaving towards you, then go look in the mirror and take a really good look in the mirror and say, right, what do I want reflected back to me? Look in the mirror. I say this to everyone I work with. What do you want to experience? You want to experience pure love, abundance, beautiful friendships, a peaceful, aligned life. So therefore, I must become the embodiment of that to receive it into my physical, because whatever I put out there is going to come back, as within, so without. So if all that's in here is just all chaos and fear, that's what you're going to experience. When you come in and you tune in and you release this ego as much as we can, it must be, you can't be in the ego with your masculine ever. And I mean ever. You're in soul with your masculine. Because your actual masculine is not that body, by the way. It's a beautiful, like, it's just not. So understand or resonate that this journey is an awakening. It is about you and your behaviors and your patterns. It's not about your masculine's behaviors and patterns. The soul will sort them out. They're playing a role unconsciously. They're here to reflect to you. They cannot come to you when you're in this shitty energy. And actually, many won't, because it's repelling energy. It's not attractive, and it's angry energy. And we've all been there. You know, believe me, I've been there. And that's why I know the difference. And so it is about you coming back here and getting in front of the mirror and getting real with yourself and getting past your own BS first, not anybody else's. Stop worrying about what everyone else is doing and worry about what you're up to, what you're saying, because that is your pain that's projecting out. It's not your masculine's pain. It's nobody else's pain. It doesn't belong to anybody but you. And yes, we can blame whoever we want, and we can blame societal conditioning and ancestral lineage stuff. Yes, we're clearing all of that, but ultimately you need to be accountable here and responsible for self. This is a journey of self-mastery, and it's a journey of coming into sovereignty and honoring yourself and loving yourself and realizing that all those things is your pain that you need to shift. It is not your masculines to carry or anyone else's. Anyway, I really do hope that this helps. I want to get across to people that are in this. You see it on the comments. That is your pain. That's your pain body speaking. Eckhart Tolle talks about the pain body. It's your pain body. Own your pain body and learn to alchemize it, and watch not only you transform, but watch your masculine transform, because they can only ever mirror you. Anyway, really hope that this resonates today. Sending so much love.